Back from the dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're all invited to go fucking mental on this motherfucking drop. The countdown has just begun. Are you ready? Let's go,
Now we're back from the dead. We're back from the dead.
Hell yeah.
We're back from the dead.
Are you ready? Let's go. Back from the dead.
We're back from the dead.
Hell yeah.
We're back from the dead. Back from the dead. Back from the dead.
Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to the Ghost Girl Diaries stream / podcast. It is yours truly, Crystal Leandra, with her co-host, Kat Cormier.
Cat meow.
Cat Meow. Please don't call her Kitty. She has like an issue with that.
Please do not ever.
She will block you. Don't do it, okay?
That's worse than the corona to worry about.
Yeah, we have
I'm just saying.
more pressing issues that we need to deal with. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So, yes, I'm here with Kat. This is for paranormal podcasts and enthusiasts, for viewers who are brave enough to join the circle. Today we are doing a haunted huddle. It was going to be a dead time this week, but we're doing a haunted huddle instead. And how are you today, Kat? You know, considering there's a zombie apocalypse going on right now, how are you?
As best as someone can be during a zombie apocalypse. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I mean, been a lot of crocheting.
A lot of
and
crocheting.
toilet paper searching, and it's fine. We're just gonna keep
Toilet
going.
paper searching. So now, tell me, fact or false. Were you in fact desperate enough for toilet paper that you considered crocheting yourself some toilet paper?
It's highly possible. And, I'm just saying cotton's washable. So if anyone needs some, let me know. I got you. I will ship you some.
No, but literally there was like a joke going on in the crochet community of like your business magic loops where people were actually crocheting toilet paper and like posting pictures of it.
It's ridiculous, but no, really.
No, but really, it was actually
No,
happening.
but really.
Okay, so, normally we were going to switch it up, obviously, this week, and we were going to start Dead Times on Friday. We're doing a haunted huddle today instead. I just feel like, I follow a lot of YouTubers, well, like, there's certain YouTubers I follow, obviously, like, Shane Dawson's, like, very, like, authentic and real, and I follow Jeffree Star, and, like, there's a bunch of beauty bloggers that I follow, and, I'm, like, I sit between, like, I guess 50 and 50. Where, like, 50% of the YouTubers are, like, being really honest and, like, forward and talking about what's going on. And then there's another 50% that, like, haven't spoke about it and they're just kind of, like, quiet. And, like, I know that right now we're surrounded by it, right? And, like, I know that, like, it's annoying. And, in fact, I was not going to post any YouTube videos. I had some pre-recorded ready to go this week. I stopped myself for a few days because obviously everyone's like living in the present moment, trying to breathe and like understand what's going on, right? So part of me, like, I stopped, temporarily wanting to post those videos. The other side of me, I am going to go ahead and start posting videos because I feel like people need something to get their mind off of what's going on. You cannot sit 24/7 and stare at social media or the television, or you're gonna like lose your mind, Part of the YouTubers are not talking about it, and I don't know, part of me feels like that's not good. Part of me feels like it's just happening, and it's not just in America, it's a worldwide issue right now. Yeah. And I don't think you can sweep it under the rug, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things, I'm just gonna be honest, like, I always say, like, I don't want to talk about politics because, like, I don't want fights to happen. And that's a fact, right? Like, I think that people that have been following me for years, like, obviously YouTube, what I've had since 2013 or something, I think people pretty much know where I probably stand with politics. Like, I don't think I really need to say where I stand. But yeah. I guess some of the reason I don't like talking about politics is because I think there's, like, really stupid subjects that are involved in politics. And one of them is, like, an epidemic outbreak, like what's happening. Like, I feel like it shouldn't be a political issue. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't like to talk about politics. Because, like, I don't feel like it should be an issue of, like, if you're Republican or Democrat. It should be, like, what's the crisis and how do we deal with it? You know what I mean? So that's part of the reason. Yeah, like, let's be proactive and deal with it rather than, like, pick a side. Are you blue or red? Like, that drives me crazy. So that's another reason I don't like to talk politics. I don't really want to get into a massive political discussion about this. I just want to say that I hope everybody is safe. Kat and I didn't really know how to handle social media this week. I'm going to be honest. My mother is, she had me late in life. And my mom and I, and her, she has best friends from high school. We kind of talked today and we're like, in her life span, she has never seen something like this happen. She's shocked about it. And obviously she was alive even when, like, Kennedy was assassinated. Like, there's weird things that shut things down. Obviously, I was in high school when 9/11 happened, so I am aware of when weird things happen. But this is, like, taking it to a whole nother level, right? Some people have messaged me out of the country asking if this whole, like, toilet paper issue / like, coronavirus, like, frenzy, if it's, like, fake. I can tell you it's absolutely not fake. Some people are wondering if it's like a political stunt. No, it's not here in the United States. The only way I knew how to deal with it on my personal social media is the way I am generally speaking, which is dark humor. It's not me saying that it's not scary. I was making a lot of jokes about toilet paper issues. Cause like the biggest one was like, who knew like you would be like determined like under a rich person if you have toilet paper. Like if you have a stock of toilet paper, you're considered well off. You know what I mean right now? Yeah. It's been a frenzy, and I've been preparing for this pretty much the chat we're going to do about prophecies and stuff for about a week. But I have to say, you know, I did some uploads this week talking about like the prophecies we're going to discuss. Okay. First of all, I have never, and I have had Ghost Girl Diaries. So like what, 2013-14 is what, like 6-7 years, something like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And never in my career of owning GGD have I ever had to like mute, block, and delete so many comments on our Facebook page, ever. And like, I've talked about some controversial things. Like, I've not been afraid to talk about when Nick Groff left Ghost Adventures. That was very controversial. And like, that video alone has over 500,000 views on it. And so, I mean, I've had a lot of people come at me. It's not all like one-sided, right? I do try to play devil's advocate on both sides. That's my favorite place to stand. But I had a lot of people that were just like fighting with each other, mainly on the Ghost Girl Diaries Facebook page. And it has nothing to do with these prophecies we're going to talk about. It has to do with emotions are extremely high right now. And the only thing I can say to everybody watching is that we're in this together. You're not alone. Don't feel like you're alone. I've even made some posts on social media like, don't feel like you're alone. And you know, I guess my opinion is, you know, the coronavirus thing is happening, obviously. Like, I live in Nevada, and we've actually had the lowest numbers, thank God, like in the nation. Our governor, though, knows we have international travel because it's Las Vegas. I'm in Las Vegas, right? So our governor immediately shut down a lot of travel in and out of the state because he knew people were going to come into the state with the strip. And so he immediately got on top of it. And luckily, we're not taxed on most things here in Las Vegas because of the tourism is so high. They tax the tourists, not us. And so they're going to try to provide testing for every single person that lives in Nevada. But it's very scary. And I guess my opinion on it is I'm not as afraid of the coronavirus as I am of what's going to happen to the economy after this. Because I also got word of mouth today from some of my friends who live in Los Angeles that they are starting quarantines in Los Angeles. That's huge. Obviously, I lived in Santa Monica. I have a lot of friends that are still there in the production world. And for them to be shutting down LA is effing terrifying to me, because LA/California has the biggest economy in the United States. I'm only 4 hours from LA, technically. That's a little bit more, maybe 5, depending on traffic. And, you know, Las Vegas, the way Las Vegas acts is more of a branch of California. You know, we're the next biggest metropolis to LA. And so usually whatever happens in LA will then happen in Vegas. I want to get all this out in the open first before we start like the core of the discussion, because I feel like it just needs to be said. I am technically quarantining myself. So is Kat. I'm doing it for a few reasons. One, I have an autoimmune disease. And I had pneumonia for like 4 months last year, okay? Like, I'm not doing this again. Like, I was living off of cough drops, okay? But second, my mom lives with me, and I take care of her. And I'm sorry, Heather just said, I just want some damn toilet paper. And it's ridiculous. We will talk about that too. But my mom lives with me, and my mom had a triple bypass last year, and she had several other heart surgeries, and you know, her health is fragile. And I'm not as worried about me getting like the corona as like giving it to my mom, because she's older and she's had health issues. So I have quarantined my house. We're pretty much on lockdown. Luckily, I always buy in bulk, and I have extra I have extra freezer in the garage, and it's packed, so like I'm good to go for a minute. But you're right, Heather. Let's chat about the toilet paper issue, Kat. You want to talk about knitting some toilet paper? Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'll sell it for cheap if y'all need it. It's here.
I was out.
I'm over it.
I think
I'm
it was
over it.
Tuesday when the toilet paper issue really started, right? So it's been like
Yeah.
4 or 5 days. I was at the grocery store when the toilet paper thing started. Okay, so if you're not from United States watching this, or if you're on our podcast later out of the country, because we have a lot of people worldwide that tune into us, okay? People, I walked in on Tuesday to the grocery store, and it was like a madhouse, okay? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, people have carts heaping, and then they have their kids pushing carts that are heaping, and like one full cart of just toilet paper, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I knew about the coronavirus thing happening, right? It had barely just started to hit the United States, but I'm like, people are panicking. And now that I'm watching that, I'm watching, because I'm an empath, right? Like you can see what people are doing as an empath. Like sometimes I can literally hear what people are thinking. And I'm standing there watching these people. And because other people are shopping crazy, other people are watching them shop crazy, and they're thinking, I need to go like stock up too. And so it's causing this like sheer shopping panic that's like happening. Okay. And I'm just like, oh my God, like what's going on? And pretty soon, like most people are saying in chat, if you can't see it, pretty much food is sparse and toilet paper is sparse. And the scarier part is people that can't afford to panic shop. What are they going to do is the question. And then you have these a-holes coming in, okay, who are buying hand sanitizer, cleaners, soaps, bleach, and toilet paper, and they're reselling a gallon of water for like $17. They're reselling. There was a guy in the news today that's in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I know Chattanooga, that's not far from where my dad owned property. And he bought $17,000 worth of hand sanitizers, and he was selling them. They cost him between $1 to $3 each, and he was selling them between $8 a piece to $70 a piece online. So you have these a-holes coming in who are taking advantage of this like epidemic that's happening, and then they're trying to make entrepreneurs of themselves. And believe me, I respect entrepreneurs. I am one myself, but I also don't think that it should be taken at the hand of sacrifice of millions of other people. And luckily, eBay and Amazon did step in and they shut down all of the gouging, but it's still happening on Facebook Marketplace and like Craigslist and a few other places. They're selling one roll of toilet paper for $20. Like, this is one of those times I wish I lived in Europe and had a bidet and I could be like, doesn't matter. I don't need toilet paper. It's just, but it's sad. You think of elderly people who can't rush to the store. Maybe they can't even walk. Maybe they don't even have money. Like, what are they going to do? Like, yeah, you can use washcloths and stuff, but it's just not right. And it's panic and it's frenzy. And like, I've been posting and talking about something else, and I stand by it. There's no toilet paper shortage. Like, everybody just freaked out. This is why they don't tell us about aliens, guys. How many times have I said in the past, the government will never admit it because they are afraid of what the human mankind will do. This is what will happen. 100%. Like, people heard about Corona and suddenly all the toilet paper's gone. And you're like, and then they're reselling it and stuff. It's crazy. Like, this is exactly why. This is 100% why. Kat, what do you want to piggyback off of all of that?
It's even getting really ugly in grocery stores in general.
Oh, yeah.
Just today, people are getting really PO'd and, being rude to people and pushing people and, be kind, guys. Don't add more fuel to the fire that's happening. Don't add more to the craziness. Just, do the best you can. Take a day at a time and leave the toilet paper alone. Okay? All right? Corona is a sickness or disease, not diarrhea. Okay, let's just throw it out there.
Well, I don't even think. I think the worst part was either panic shopping, where people are literally hoarding toilet paper because clearly they think World War III is gonna explode. And honest to God, if that happens and like something, there's a war. If you're gonna be dead and gone, what you gonna do with all that toilet paper anyway, boo boo? You know what I'm saying? Like. But then on top of that, you have the gougers, which is just really, really, really wrong. So
it's bad. Honestly, like, this is what I told Crystal too, is honestly, I would be storing food for the recession that might happen
Right.
more than I would for Corona right now.
Right. But that kind of food is stuff like pasta that will last a while, frozen foods,
Canned foods.
canned foods, powdered milk, stuff like that. Not necessarily
Essentials.
toilet paper, because you can always
No.
use a wash rag if you're that freaked about it, you know.
True.
It's sad. But I will say, when people act like this and panic and all the grocery stores are empty, the problem is that this is what pushes us into a recession. This is part of what pushes us into a recession is, you know, you look back at like World War I when my grandmother was alive, and she was a child when it was happening. I remember her telling me that people would have to wait in line for like 5 to 6 hours for one loaf of bread. And that one loaf of bread was like $7 or $8, which is just ridiculous, right? Like the price is ridiculous at the time. You're talking about like way back when in the 1900s. So this is what happens, you know, like, and honestly, I'm laughing because I have a lot of veteran friends. Okay. Blake obviously was in the Army. And when I know all of his friends, and I have a lot of veteran friends, I'm a big veteran supporter. I'm kicking myself because they have been, a lot of them are preppers, right? You know what a prepper is? It's somebody like preps for a war, preps for the zombie apocalypse. And like they'll have like, you know, storage units of like food at their house, or like they have like, you know, a bunker. I don't really think we need bunkers, but I used to make fun of them. And now I'm like, oh, a scenario has come up for the first time as we know it, where they were right. And I will never make fun of a prepper ever again. And it's not the zombies. It's not even the corona that they prepped for. It was other humans that they prepped for. Like, is your mind blown right now? You know what I mean? Like, you didn't realize it wasn't the zombies they were prepping for. It wasn't the coronavirus. It was other humans acting like crazy fools. So anyway, I respect them. Never make fun of them again. I don't know if I'm necessarily a prepper. I respect them for doing that. Obviously, I have my own little stash, luckily. But anyway, I want to talk about some prophecies and stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And first of all, let's just breathe, okay? Anything that we talk about on this stream, I don't want everybody to think we're talking about the end of days or like the end of the world here, okay? Like, that's not where we're going with this. I want everybody to like go back to your zone. The reason you've been following my channel for years is because you love paranormal, okay? So what I want all of us to do is just breathe for a minute, literally, let it out. And then I want you to put yourself in the zone of what you love, which is paranormal, okay? I don't want you to like get paranoid and like mind explode and think everyone's dying. Realistically, right now, statistics for death of corona are very low, and it's unfortunately only attacking older people with deaths. The majority of people that have survived versus the deaths it's very minimal, okay? Like Kat and I did the math yesterday. We're talking like somewhere between 2 to 3%. It's very low. So, you know, unfortunately, I do blame the media for causing this panic. I do.
100%.
Because they
100%.
have made it like sound like it's World War III and everybody's just got to go live underground with whatever food they have left. You need to prep for a couple weeks, people, not for 4 months. You know what I'm saying? So I want everybody to breathe. I want you to come back to your paranormal self. And I want you to think of this as of, you know, prophecies and psychics. We watch psychics all the time with our favorite shows, right? With Ghost Adventures, with Amy Bruni and Adam Berry and Chip Coffey. Like, we watch psychics all the time. So let's get back in our paranormal bubble here. And let's go with the paranormal thought process, not going down the dark rabbit hole of, like, the end of days, okay? Because I don't think that's happening. There could be a recession coming. I will say I lost all my stocks this week, okay? I'm an investor, and the stock market dropped, and my it's been the worst since 87, and the only reason I'm sad about that isn't about the money. I mean, that makes me sad too.
Aww.
But, like, that I was actually investing for the first time, and I was really proud of myself. I was like, yes, I'm investing. So, anyway, we're gonna recover, okay? We're all gonna be okay. Let's just try to find something we enjoy, and escape, you know, reality for a few minutes. Okay, so Kat and I have some really cool I'm actually really excited for these topics.
I love this topic.
I am. I'm kind of excited. Yeah. And once again, you guys know that I love to play devil's advocate. So I want to look at, and Kat too, like I want to look at some of the good things versus the bad things you agree with, things you disagree with, because I love to like pull things apart. You guys know I'm like a deep thinker, right? Mm-hmm. So let's do that. Let's like escape reality and let's just chat about psychics. Okay.
Do it.
So the first person I want to talk about, and before I say this, I want everyone to come in here with an open mind, okay? Mm-hmm. I want you to like, yes, think of things you've learned about these people, but also try to come in with an open mind so that we can have a full discussion on this. So first I want to talk about Sylvia Browne, okay? Sylvia Browne was a psychic. She passed away in 2013, okay? She has a ton of books out. I actually own several, okay? She kind of went viral this week from her one book called End of Days. And in the book, she talks about having like a severe like outbreak that happens in 2020. It says it's a pneumonia-like illness, and it will spread throughout the lungs and the globe, attacking the lungs and bronchial tubes. It's resistant to all treatments, and the almost more baffling part is that the illness itself will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrives. It will attack again in years later and then completely disappear. So we're talking, obviously, possibly about the coronavirus, okay?
Right.
Now, I think before we tackle this, we should back it up a little bit to a case that she was involved in that's caused her name to come a little bit slandered, right? And Kat and I, you looked this up too, Kat, right? Like we talked about it this week in depth. Okay. Amanda Berry. Can you start that conversation? I have a couple of her books in the living room. I want to go grab them. Can you start about the Amanda Berry thing and talk about it?
Sure. Okay.
She was kidnapped.
So she was kidnapped. And so Sylvia Browne essentially was on this show and said that Amanda Berry was dead, essentially. And, you know, it was learned later on that Amanda Berry, that was held hostage by Castro in Ohio, was alive. So there was a lot of criticism for Sylvia Browne regarding her authenticity, accuracy with these things. And, you know, honestly, that was really the only thing that kind of came up that wasn't 100% accurate. But when you think about psychics as a whole, there's really no psychic that's 100% on. You know, it's either usually a very high percentage or, you know, somewhere in between. And in my opinion, you know, her credibility, I believe, is still pretty good.
Right. So the Amanda Berry thing, I don't know what you said because I walked out, but that's okay.
Oh.
And I only found a couple of books, but it's fine. Okay. So she was abducted by Fidel Castro, right? Her with two other women that were, one of them was they were both, Amanda and the other girl were friends with Fidel's daughter, and that's how he found them. He was clearly a pedophile and abducted them and basically kept them in, I believe it was Ohio. He tortured them for like 10 years or something crazy. And Amanda Berry was, I believe, the one that was like his favorite. And she ended up getting pregnant and having a child by him, okay? And he held them and hid them out in his house for years. No one knew that he was keeping these girls. Now, eventually, Amanda Berry gained his trust as an abductor, and one day he left the house and didn't chain her back up, okay? She escaped through the window. She broke the window out and escaped, for people that don't know the story. She went to a neighbor's house, told them that she'd been missing for X amount of years, and the police basically came to the house and unchained the other girls and found where they had been living. Now, the police had said that the home that he was holding them in was so bad, it was basically like rooms set up out of hell. I guess you could compare it to like masochism, very dark BDSM stuff. He had chains hanging from the ceiling. He would torture them, literally, almost killed a couple of them several times, especially the one named Michelle, who was the other girl.
So sad.
It was claimed that he may have been doing sort of like backdoor abortions on them when they would get pregnant. And just brutal, violently brutal. If they would try to escape or run, he would almost kill them again. The one girl who had mental disabilities that he was holding captive, he had tried to kill several times, and apparently the other two girls would basically beg him not to kill her. And so anyway, this continued for 10 years. The police said it was so bad, the way the house was set up, violent. They ended up demolishing the home, okay? So let's be realistic here. Yes, I agree. When Sylvia was asked by the mom, I just heard like a yell.
You did?
Yeah.
What's over here?
I don't know if that's a neighbor, but it was like a very bad yell. So I'm going to need to step away for 1 second. I just want to make, because it sounded like the kind of scream like someone's either hurt themselves. I just need 1 minute. Can I put you guys on a be right back screen? I'll just be back in 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to mute the microphone and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. It is outside. Nobody's out there. So I don't know. I don't if that was a EVP or something. It kind of upset my tummy. It was so loud.
Nope. I ain't about that.
My office is probably haunted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Hey.
know. Anyway, the police said that it was so bad they had to demolish the house. I can't remember where I left off. Fast forward, Sylvia Browne does an interview with Amanda Berry's mom. And she tells her mom, honey, she's dead. Okay, she's been dead and she's dead. And it broke Amanda Browne's mother's heart, right? She ended up dying, the mom, before her daughter was found alive. This is where she gets a bad rap, okay? Mm-hmm. Sylvia Browne gets a bad rap for a couple of reasons. One, they feel like she shouldn't have told the parents that her daughter was dead if she wasn't in fact dead. And B, she should have apologized when she died, okay, and when she was found. Well, first of all, when Amanda Berry was found, it was a few months before Sylvia Browne died, and I'd heard through like articles that she was like on her deathbed. So saying she needed to apologize on her deathbed, we don't know what kind of shape she's in. That's unrealistic. That's ridiculous. Sure. Okay, so like let's just move that out of the way. Okay. Second of all, if Sylvia Browne as a psychic was getting visions of that house, which is horrible chains through the walls and like literally almost murdering people, if those were the visions she was getting, what else would she have had to tell that mother?
It's true.
I mean, realistically, that's how psychics see things. Usually it's like audio or like visualization. If she's seeing these things or hearing the screams of the torture happening, she probably didn't know what else to tell that mother. And that's just me playing devil's advocate. I don't agree. I think that's sad. I think it's really sad that her mother died not knowing if her daughter was alive. I agree with that. But on the other side of it, no psychic or prophet is ever going to be 100%. And that includes some things Nostradamus has said, who's one of the most famous ones, and even Baba Vanga, which is another one we'll kind of cover later. But so I don't know. I'm on the fence with this, okay? Like, I understand what people say. Like, it basically tarnished Sylvia Browne's entire credibility. And, like, everybody was like, oh, I hate her. She's a fraud. She told the parents that she's dead. That's how psychics work. The visions she got, what would you expect? I mean, how do you feel about it, Kat?
I feel the same. I mean, the vision she was probably getting was just so dark and constant You know, I mean, who knows too if she wasn't viewing in on like the abortions that were going on too.
Right.
How horrible that was, and how it probably wouldn't be possible for somebody to live through that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you know, if it was to set ease for the moment or whatever her thought process was, I probably would have said the same thing.
Well, and realistically, let's say the mom dies and passes over, right? The mom crosses over. As sad as that is, for our belief system, everyone majority believes in the other side. We know that when she crossed over, she found out the truth. She found out that her daughter was still alive, and it probably did leave her soul at ease. You know, that's my opinion on it. Yeah. But, you know, it's crazy to me how people just give Sylvia Browne such a rap of like, oh, this one thing happened. It makes everything she's ever done terrible and like she's demonized. Yet she has like an 80% success rate of missing persons cases while she was alive. She was working with like the FBI and local law enforcement, and she would be able to see either A, where remains were located or burial sites, or B, where that person was being held for missing persons. And she was successful at it. So I don't know, I feel like one thing, yes, it was bad. It was bad because, once again, it's on the media and it's publicized. If that wouldn't have been on the media and publicized, people wouldn't have known about it and wouldn't be talking about it. And I mean, let's be real, there were probably some other cases that happened that we don't know about that she probably missed if she's not 100% success rate too. But now you have her going viral this week, and it's just kind of sad because like in the last few months of her life, they found Amanda Berry, and she was just like cut up on social media. I remember, and it's like, so the woman's dying, and then for years and years and years, like her death is like, you know, oh, we're glad she died because she like wasn't fulfilling the truth. And then turn around this week and you find her End of Days book that has this expert from it. I do have the book, by the way. And now everyone's talking about her again. So it's crazy how humankind and mankind works. It's almost like they manipulate people to their advantage. And that makes me sad because it's like she did some good things. And yes, she didn't do some good things. But that's also being a prophet and like being psychic and willing to put yourself in books and out there and like have your stuff be recorded. Like that's very brave because I think everyone has psychic abilities. It just depends on how much in tune you are to them, how much you practice them to make them become a bigger thing. And to live authentically and publicly on top of it. Like, you know, generally speaking, do you really think publicly she was like helping missing persons cases just to become famous? I don't think so.
No.
She was using her ability to try and help as most as she could. Also, if you look at that, if you watch the interview of her talking to the mom of Amanda Berry, she wasn't like cold about it. She's like, I'm sorry, sweetheart. Like, she's gone. And honestly, would you have rather she was sitting there telling her, oh, she's alive still in this house with chains and she's being tortured and I think she'll die any day now? Like that would be more traumatic, I think, as a mother.
I agree.
And who knows, like honestly, the other thing is being like psychic or like empath. Clearly the dude, Fidel Castro, that like took these women was like dark AF, right? Like a dark mofo, okay? Mm-hmm. Do you think she could clearly see past his intentions and energy if he was like practically the devil?
True.
I doubt it, honestly. I assume his intention, and I think there were interviews that he had done that he said his intention was to kill them when he was done with them. But then he didn't, I guess he didn't have the balls. I don't know what happened. So, and then he ended up killing himself before he could be, you know, punished by law. But, you know, he met his maker.
True.
He met his maker and let that happen, and we don't have anything to do with that. He met his maker. So anyway, going back to the books. She made a lot of predictions. Did you go through the notes, Kat? Was there anything else that kind of stood out to you with her?
No, I mean, that was pretty much it that touched upon it. You know, I mean, other than the fact that she had other predictions.
Right.
Kind of like on a lighter note.
Yep.
As far as, you know, that. But she predicted volcanic eruption happening in Japan in April.
And that didn't happen.
Yeah.
She had said that she would die, she said she would die at the age of 88, but she ended up dying at the age of 77. I mean, once again, not all psychics will be accurate. She had said that all troops of American troops would be pulled out of Iraq by June or July of 2004. Obviously, that didn't happen. But once again, you look at all of the cases that she helped with missing persons, and it's like, those predictions may not be accurate, but damn, she helped solve a lot of mysteries. She gave a lot of closure to people that had missing persons, whether they were found alive or not.
Well, and you can't really write someone off of one thing. You know what I mean? Even if there are little ones involved, like, no psychic is 110%. I'm sorry.
There's not.
They probably have so many messages channeling in and out. Of course something's going to get muddled up in that. You know
well, and like I said, with Fidel Castro's evil energy like that, I don't think you'd get an accurate reading if she was trying to read through him anyway.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, to kidnap and be a pedophile and kidnap 3 children, well, technically 2, and then one that had developmental disabilities, and then to rape and torture and try to murder them, that is as dark as it gets. Like, there's been people that laugh at me because they're like, well, Crystal, you know, what are your belief system? Do you think hell exists? That's pretty damn close, in my opinion. I'm not sure how much closer you can get to hell with people like that. You know, I don't think this is necessarily hell that we're in, but I do think that only the very strongest souls come to this planet to be able to, like, level up their spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some dark things that go down here, 100%. Okay, moving forward, I don't want to touch on her too long. I will say, though, I have a couple of her books. I can't find the other ones. But this is one, Secrets and Mysteries of the World. And this is stuff, I bought this book, honestly, when I was a kid. This is one of the first books that I bought regarding paranormal. Some of the chapters are really cool in it. But, like, she talks about famous places like Stonehenge, Easter Island. Then she talks about chupacabra, Sasquatch, fairies, demons. This book was one of the very first paranormal books I bought, and she basically gives her 2 cents on what she believes those things came from. So that's one of my faves. And then I have a little teeny old astrology book that's hers, and then I also have, obviously, End of Days. I was hoping to have gone through it more before we got on here, but that didn't happen. So if I find out more and we want to chat about it, we will.
And you want to even talk about, like, the legitimacy of her predictions as well, is you can't even find a hard copy of it anymore. Right. They're sold out.
Oh, and yeah.
I believe that there's one that's used that someone's selling for like $900.
Yes, that's, once again, going back to where people want to use it for their advantage. Yep.
It's like,
So End of Days, her book, Kat went online, because I own it, but Kat was like, oh, I want to buy End of Days. I want to read through it. And the only hard copy that's available is now being sold for $900.
Like $901 or something. I mean, I'm sorry, if you're selling something for that much, it probably has reason behind it.
Right, there's people, it's in demand. Right,
good
it's in demand.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is one that I actually hadn't heard of before. Nostradamus we're going to save for last because, you know, he's the king of prophecies, okay? We're going to talk about Baba Vanga, okay? If I pronounce that wrong, I'm sorry, I don't mean to. This is a woman who was, where was she from again? I forgot. I think she's from Bulgaria. I think she's a Bulgarian.
She is.
Yes. I think she died in like 1996. And Baba Vanga predicted a lot of major things. And that includes, she predicted 9/11.
Yeah, that was
she predicted the 2004 tsunami in Thailand. She predicted the first black president, 2008, which was Barack Obama. And she was blind. She lived in a village. And she also had an extreme power to communicate with the dead. And apparently people would wait to see her for days to try to get messages from loved ones. So now, of course, once again, we're going into Baba Vanga with devil's advocate. You have on one side people who truly believe what she did and who she was. And then you have the other side where people are like, she was Bulgarian, she didn't speak English, she did write these texts with someone else because obviously she couldn't see, she was blind. And then those texts were translated to American versions. And then people are like, oh, we don't know if some of these translations got like mixed up and we don't know if they're true or not. So you have two sides of the story. I think that's just people afraid of prophets. They're afraid of people that can see the future. Once again, if you look at Baba Vanga's statistics, she was not 100% all of the time. I think she was like, what was it, 72 or 76%, something like that.
Yeah, so it was somewhere in between there.
Okay.
It's still pretty high, though.
It is high.
geez.
Right. Well, and once again, she could have the ability to communicate with the dead. And you're talking about a blind person who clearly hasn't been anywhere in the world who's able to put these scriptures into like verbal text. So what do you want to talk about with Baba?
I found it really interesting, her conversation regarding Armageddon, and how she claims that Armageddon is going to happen in 5079.
5079, yes. So everybody's safe. Did you hear that?
Everybody's
Armageddon's
safe.
not Corona.
No one
Okay.
You got plenty of time to get toilet paper.
And I hate to tell you this, but unless you're a time traveler or you're like, infinitively living, you're not going to be here when we see end of days. So holler
True.
for that. I don't have to worry about that.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says that the end of days will happen in 5079, quote, a fiery demise of the world.
Creepy.
Well,
creepy.
thank God I'm not going to be here. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like how it took out the dinosaurs.
Pretty much, yeah. At this
creepy.
point, with things melting the way they are, I'm not sure would we really
gosh.
last that long. But I don't know. It's none of my business. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. It's true.
Let's keep moving. Let's see. Bad news is.
Oh, you know what?
What?
I actually found really fascinating as well.
Mhm.
So Sylvia Brown predicted something about the Russian president,
Yes.
and Baba did too.
Yes,
and it was
that's
the
right.
same prediction.
Right. They believe
Crazy.
that the Vladimir Putin is going to have an attempted assassination that will be done within his means, within his cabinet. So someone inside, it's going to be an attempted inside job. They both said that it will not happen. He won't die. They will be caught before the death happens. So I find that interesting. That was both Baba and Sylvia that predicted that. I'm going through the list.
And they didn't even know each other.
No, they didn't know each other.
So that's
Well,
weird.
I mean, think about it. Even 2013, and Sylvia Brown is she's older, right? She's over 75. Baba died in 1996. There wasn't social media then, guys. That
Nope.
didn't exist. That wasn't a thing. And even in 1996, to make a phone call to Bulgaria, that would have cost an arm and a leg, literally.
Yeah.
It would have been by the minute phone calls. So you're talking about something that's just not even relevant.
Not even a thing.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, 1996, you couldn't even get on Amazon.com and order Baba Vanga's translation book.
Man, I miss the 90s. I'm just saying.
You know what?
Loved the 90s.
I loved the 90s when I grew up because nothing I did was recorded. Holler. Holler.
That's true, though.
Literally, even in the 2000s,
No, right.
I had Motorola Razr phones, man. Smartphones weren't a thing yet.
True.
And if they were, high schoolers weren't getting them. Their parents were, but not us, And so I wasn't recorded. Holler. So thank God for that. So basically they say Putin will be attacked by a member of his own security. It says that this was a Baba. So basically the way, if you read the text, I put it in easier verbiage. But if you read her text, she talks about the Western world or the United States, whoever's president in 2020, okay? And then whoever's the leader of Russia in 2020. So that's how she words things. I have it worded easier so we don't have to translate even more for you guys. But she says that in 2020 there will be some sort of peace treaty sort of between Russia and the United States. I don't know. That's just a prediction. Let's see. I think there was a prediction by Baba of Hong Kong riots, which that definitely happened. That happened. What else are we going through? Can you see? I'm going through here. She predicted a overthrow of government in China.
Yep.
And that will cause a sweep of changes to happen.
Which is already kind of weird that they're talking about that.
Well, and she's saying this is 2020 and forward, I guess, right? Is a way to put it.
Yeah, unfold a few years after 2020.
Okay,
So,
Baba says there was going to be a powerful tsunami that strikes in Asia in 2004, and exactly 16 years later, which would be 2020. So she's claiming basically you're talking about climate change and ice caps melting, and she's sort of predicting really horrible tsunamis happening in continents like Asia, Japan, Philippines, China, all over there. And even the possibility of some continents completely disappearing underwater because of that.
It's so freaky.
It is
It's freaky.
2004, there was she said there'd be some sort of horrific weather catalyst that will change a lot of lives, like over 200,000, which was the big tsunami that hit. Reading through this to make sure I get all the information out here.
2020 will see many environmental disasters that will unfold all across the world.
She's saying 2020 mini earthquakes, particularly Japan and India, and it will cause a disruption to the Summer Olympics, which they may not even happen, it says, due to this.
Yeah. USA will also experience earthquakes, serious volcanic activity on a small island. She said that I cannot identify where, urgent evacuation.
So I would assume that would be like Hawaii.
Probably something like that.
Right.
Yeah, and she has a success rate of 85%.
Okay, 85%. Wow.
Wow, that's way more than I thought.
Yeah. Okay, so then we must have gotten them backwards then. It must have been Sylvia Browne that was like a 76% or 72%.
Yes,
one of them was in the 80s and one of them was in the 70s, so I'm sorry about that. She's claiming that Baba Vanga, once again, is claiming that ISIS from the Middle East will start taking over when the first black president comes in. And eventually it will take over parts of Europe, or most of Europe. Let's see. Gosh, she has so many predictions. I'm skipping
so
over a
much.
couple. Because there's just so many. Oh, she was also clairvoyant. Oh, during World War II, she was clairvoyantly able to locate where bodies could be found. So that was one thing she helped with during World War II.
Wow, and crowds flocked to her. Oh my gosh. On April 8th, 1942, Bulgarian King Boris II came to consult her.
A Soviet leader also went to her at least once, so she had major big people coming for her to like talk about apocalyptic events.
Wow. Okay. Those of Vanga's predictions quoted seem to be all apocalyptic visions of the future of the world, particularly Europe, is that it say?
Yep, Europe.
Yep, and even Mars. Where a war will break out in 3005 and change the trajectory of the planet. Wow.
Which people are trying to get to Mars anyways right now. Like, okay, should we chat about that for a minute?
Let's do that.
Because I just have, look, whatever people want to do. You know what I'm saying? But the whole Mars thing, like, first of all, we can't even handle our planet, speaking of trying to find another one. Second of all, these people are agreeing to go to Mars with no ticket back, no way back. They're, like, up and leaving their family. They could die out there. They don't care. And I'm like, really? Like, why?
There's a documentary on it. Yeah.
Why? Like, I don't get it. Like, if people want to do that, good for you. Get it, boo. But, like, I have too much to do on this planet. I can't leave right now. Sorry. Maybe next life.
Go to Mars and just,
I don't know.
not have enough toilet paper.
Well, exactly. What are you going to do on Mars if you have no teepee, ho? Like, seriously.
I'm saying.
You think it's a problem now. You wait till you're using Red Rock and you ain't got no washcloths. You know what I'm saying?
Red Rock.
You're going to be using red pebbles, okay? No. Just saying.
Oh my god.
Okay, on a positive note, she predicted in 2028, mankind will actually fly to Venus to search for new sources of energy. But they say, in parentheses, clearly she didn't see the toxic atmosphere of the planet. But she does predict that because we ruin the current planet that we're on, which clearly we're seeing effects of that right now, okay, because we ruin this planet, that by the year 2130, human civilization will be living underwater with the help of aliens. I actually kind of believe that.
I mean, is that what Atlantis was?
Amen, sister. I
You
would
know what
like
I
to meet
mean?
some Atlanteans, is all I'm going to say.
That maybe we got back on land and then we messed it up again, and now we're back in the
Just
water
keep messing it up.
until the water goes down, and then it's
You know, I
land
guess
again,
the part about
you
the
know?
whole, like, and I'm not going to get political here, okay? But, like, I guess the part about climate change and specifically watching our Antarctica break off is the freaking
Right.
animals down there. It just breaks my heart. Like, there's polar bears starving, and there's
So
penguins
sad.
getting left alone, and they're dying in the middle of the ocean, and it just, that part, you know, like, let the humans run themselves into the ground, but don't make the animals suffer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that part gets me the most. Anyways, so what do you think about the alien? You think Atlantis aliens are the ones chilling up in the mountains up in Alaska, and they're going to help us make an underwater civilization?
We're having a grand old time eating popcorn, watching us, you know, tear things apart.
I'm
and
telling
then
you,
they're
I
like,
think the aliens
okay.
drive by this planet and they're like, lock the spaceship doors because this planet, like,
"Don't
stay
talk to
away.
strangers."
People are crazy. They're fighting
You know-
about toilet paper.
The other thing that I really do believe about Venus is I believe that probably would happen. And I'm not saying be on Venus, but maybe utilize the energy or the atmosphere around it
That's true. That could
for a
happen.
form of energy, which honestly would make sense too because
Oh,
end of times happens in 3,000 whatever.
right.
You utilize Venus's energy to move to Mars.
Right.
So it's like, are we just going to keep jumping to planets, and in
Hop
the meantime,
around.
we're going to be chilling underwater with gills and stuff? And not
Well,
need toilet paper?
let's see. What is this? 2,130. So you're talking like 100 years from now. I mean, evolution could happen, but maybe not in 100 years necessarily.
I don't want no gills.
They say we're about to
No.
lose our pinky toes and our pinky fingers because they don't utilize us. So
What? Really?
yeah, and if you study anthropology and like anthropologists, they say like the pinky toe and pinky finger will eventually not be existent anymore. Over time, it's just gonna you're not gonna be born with pinky toes and pinky fingers.
No.
'Cause
I
well, I mean,
my
really, like-
fingers.
My pinky toes are tiny. Like, they don't do a lot of good. You know what I'm saying? Not that I want it to be cut off. I like my toes.
I mean, but why would you only have 4 toes?
I mean, we're talking about, like, Kat. Like, it's not going to happen to you right now, boo.
No,
We're talking
no,
about, like,
but
many years of evolution.
even the thought of it is kind of weird.
Right.
Weird.
Well, evolution, baby.
That's true.
In fact, you know, this whole week, and here's my dark humor again. I apologize in advance. But, like, after all of this that's happening, okay, and, like, the toilet paper fiasco,
Yeah.
the only movie I can keep thinking about is Paul. Have you seen the movie Paul? You've got to watch
No.
it. Oh, my God.
Oh wait.
The
Did you
alien,
watch it?
the little alien, it's got Seth Rogen as the voice of the alien.
Oh no, I haven't seen
Oh
it
my,
yet.
you'll die laughing. You need to watch it. Like, if you need some humor in dark times, go watch Paul, okay? It's hilarious. And, like, he's like, why do people think we want to probe them all the time? Like, what makes you think I want to put my finger up there? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's funny because you're looking at this and you're like, this is chaotic. Like, I think Paul is out there. Like, I told you guys, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's about an alien that escapes Area 51. It's hilarious.
That's awesome. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. Okay, Nostradamus. Let's move on.
Moving on.
All right. This guy, man, some hardcore, and like, he predicted this stuff. We're talking like 500 years ago. He was born in France in 1503. He was actually a medical physician in the 1530s, and he was doing it without being a medical, like actually educated medically, because he was having prophecies and thoughts, and like he could just do it, which is really creepy, but okay. And then in 1547, he started publishing his book, and this was the first big book of the Prophecies. 1555 is when it was
Ooh.
actually published. That's a
555.
while. Yeah, I know. I saw that. I did see that 1555.
Numerology.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I love that.
So he was really interesting how he did his prophecies. He did his prophecies in rhyme. And I meant that literally. He predicted things like Napoleon, the French Revolution, 9/11 attacks, and Adolf Hitler. Okay. I want to read a couple of his predictions word for word because I think it's like really interesting, okay? And then we'll talk about how like you break them up verbatim. So the very first prediction that I have on here is, this is his words, okay? The young lion will overcome the older one on the fields of combat in a single battle. He will pierce his eyes through a golden cage, 2 wounds made 1, then he dies a cruel death. Wow.
I mean, that's a visual.
I mean, how is it not? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bam. We're friends and now you're going to die. No. So what does this mean? In the summer of 1559, King Harry II of France held this like tournament that was held up to celebrate the wedding of the king's daughter, right? There was a lance that was involved, let's just say, and there was profuse bleeding that happened with the king, and then he became unconscious. He was lanced in the eye, the throat, and the temple. But if you go
2
back,
wounds made 1.
he will pierce his eyes through a golden cage. And the way he died was verbatim.
Nope.
Bleeding unconscious, wounds that were not fixable. It caused agonizing pain, seizures, and part paralysis, and dies a cruel death. He laid in bed dying for 11 days.
Oh my god.
Cat's like, okay.
That's like, ugh.
Well, think about it. Look at the quote again. He says he's in a golden cage. So I mean, think about it. You're in a room for 11 days.
Oh my gosh. Hold up. Want to hear something even creepier?
Okay,
and
do
I
it.
don't know if that's what he meant. So he said he will pierce his eyes through a golden cage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he was lanced in the eye
Right.
and the temple.
Right.
Would that be considered the third eye?
Yeah, I thought so too.
So with the eye and the third eye, those were eyes.
Right. And the golden cage is, I mean, a palace, right? Probably a palace.
That, or it could have even been his, was he wearing armor?
I mean, probably. Who knows?
Golden armor?
Could be.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If he was, what was he doing? Was he jousting?
I think it was some sort of a fight that happened. I'm not sure.
From the lance. So if it was
it was a tournament. It was a tournament held for an upcoming wedding for the king's daughter. So yes, he probably was. Oh,
Wow.
okay. This is what it says. It says the king had a poorly secured visor, and they believe this is what, quote, pierced his eyes through a golden cage. So he was wearing a metal visor on his eyes, and it obviously didn't hold up. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, a couple times.
I mean, could see that coming. Did you get it?
All right, should we talk about another one?
Did
It's
you
cool.
get the
I mean,
joke?
look. Yeah, I know, right? Dark humor, it's fine. If you don't like it, don't be here.
It's okay.
Prediction. Next prediction. Ready? Okay, so I feel like I'm like a philosopher from like the 1500s. Okay.
That's because you are.
I know, I love it. I just, I like, maybe I'm a time traveler. You know what I'm saying?
True.
I'm Noah Novik in female form.
Oh, God.
Like, oh, okay. Okay, ready for this one?
Ready.
The blood of the just will commit a fault at London, burnt through the lightning of 23 the 6th. The ancient lady will fall from her high place. Several of the same sect will be killed. This is the Great Fire of London.
Wow.
And if you think about what he says is 23's the 6th, it was London's infamous 3-day blaze that began on September 2nd of 1666. So he predicted the dates.
666.
Although it wasn't set by lightning, it was a spark in a bakery that was below, and it staged an inferno.
Wow. Yep.
But I mean, technically, that was his vision, right? It was like lightning or like a spark.
Right. something
Once
to
again,
go off.
not being 100% right, but pretty darn close, you know?
It's likely that hundreds or even thousands of people perished in the flames.
They don't know the exact amount.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Wow.
dark. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
Um,
This is a book?
Yeah, it's a book. I bought the book on Amazon, by the way.
Oh, man.
I e-booked that. Yeah, I have it.
I'm gonna buy that.
I know. I'm scared though. I'm gonna get real deep in it. I'm gonna be like reading every prediction.
There's so much you could do.
Yeah. The next one is. Okay, are you ready?
Ready.
These are deep, so it takes a minute to like. You
I'm
have to.
so excited. I don't know
Okay.
why.
From
Really
the
messed up.
enslaved populace songs, chants, and demands, while princes and lords are held captive in prisons, these will in the future, by headless idiots, be received as divine prayers. So this is the French Revolution saw the overthrow of the monarchy and started a new republic. So the third estate is the enslaved populace, took control of Paris and forced their demands on royalty, princes and lords.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, the revolution turned bloody. The revolution and beheaded headless idiots. Is that creepy?
Wow.
According to, obviously, statistics, 17,000 people were executed during this. 10,000 died in jail. The first French Republic, not just the aristocrats. So, woo! Okay.
I'm crept.
That's creepy,
Crept. I
right?
got goosebumps.
Okay. Ready for another one? Should we keep going? Because I feel like these are good.
Just keep going. Just read the whole book. It's fine.
The
We got
lost
time.
thing is discovered, hidden for many centuries. Pasture will be celebrated almost a godlike figure. This is when the moon completes her great cycle. By other rumors, he shall be dishonored. I mean, it sounds like rhyming poetry, doesn't it? You're like,
does.
whoa, it's like Shakespearean almost. You're like, I need a minute.
It's way before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So French word for pasture is shepherd, right? Is what it says.
Mm-hmm.
Prediction is crediting a what was this one through? Louis Pasteur.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading it.
Is credited with discovering microbial.
For hidden
Decay.
centuries. So he was finding hidden treasures basically for countless of lives throughout history. There,
His
where's
breakthroughs-
the Hitler one? There's a Hitler one that I was like really. Oh, here it is. Are you
I
ready?
think it's the next one.
Oh,
Yeah.
this one creeped me out really bad though.
No, it's fine.
It's fine. Okay, are we ready for it?
Everything's fine.
This one's a little bit
Okay.
longer, so everybody breathe for a second. From
We're
the
gonna
depths
breathe.
of the west of Europe, a young child will be born of poor people. He who by his tongue will seduce a great troop, his fame will increase towards the realm of the east. Also, beasts ferocious with hunger will cross the rivers. The greater part of the battlefield will be against Hister, literally Hister. Into a cage of iron will the great one be drawn, when the child of Germany observes nothing.
Wow.
So what happens? April 20th, 1889, Adolf Hitler was born in Australia, but his family was middle class, not complete poverty. He obviously rose to power. We all know about this with World War II, and invaded Poland. Some people that support Nostradamus have posted that he used the word Hister instead of Hitler for a couple of reasons. There's a misspelling, but it's also a Latin term for Danube, which I'm not sure what that means exactly, but I think it means like leader of power or something.
Yeah.
And then other supporters say he said Hister because, once again, not every prophet is 100%. But that's pretty darn close.
That's really close.
Hister and Hitler, for him to be predicting that 500 years ago. Pretty darn close.
That's creepy.
Yeah, there's another World War II prediction. I'm looking to see if there's any bigger ones that we know of. Hiroshima. Here's a Hiroshima one. Near the gates within two cities, there will be scourges like of which was never seen. Famine with plague, but people out by steel, crying at the great immortal God for relief. And this is obviously 1945. The United States dropped 2 atomic weapons on Japan, Hiroshima, and it was within 2 big cities is where it happened.
You know what's really, really weird is there's a book. I can't remember who wrote it. I think it's A Tale of Two Cities.
Mm-hmm.
Who wrote that? I feel like it's really famous. I'm gonna look that up.
I don't know.
And I wonder if it had to do with I think it was Dickens, actually.
I think that is Dickens.
Charles Dickens. Yep, it was Charles Dickens. So I'm wondering if maybe he titled that book based off of this. Near the Gates and Within Two Cities, A Tale of Two Cities.
Could be.
Hmm.
Creepy.
The more you know.
Creepy. Well, especially after 500 years, you can't really copy somebody that had a book from way back then. Throwback.
Oh, true.
Throwback. Just kidding.
Throwback.
All right, let's do a Kennedy one. The great man will be struck down by the day of the thunderbolt, an evil dead foretold by the bearer of a petition. According to the prediction, another falls at nighttime. Conflict at reigns, London and pestile in Tuscany. So what happens? John F. Kennedy obviously had numerous death threats, which is the petition. While visiting Dallas November 22nd, 1963, he's gunned down by the thunderbolt, which is what he quotes assassinated. Obviously, his brother Bobby Kennedy was also assassinated just after midnight, June 5th, 1968. And that's when he says another falls at nighttime.
Wow.
Well, that's just great. This one creeped me out pretty bad. This is the 9/11 prediction.
One?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earth-shaking fire from the center of the earth will cause tremors around New City. New City!
Yep.
Because New York City didn't really exist at that time. There was like the new land or like over the pond, right?
True.
Two great rocks will war for a long time. Then Arthrusa will ridden a new river, which probably was a river of blood, is what I assume.
I'm going to look that up. I'm going to look up what Arthrusa is.
So obviously the two great rocks they're assuming is the World Trade Centers. The new city is New York City. It collapsed after Al-Qaeda terrorists hijacked the two planes and went in. Also, it says fire of the center of the earth doesn't connect anything, so they're not really sure where that comes from. But once again, going back to prophets and psychics not being 120% accurate of all of the time. We do have some 2020 predictions from Nostradamus that I'm going to talk about.
Oh, boy. Oh,
and
boy.
This is where I want people to just have a seat for a minute, because I'm not just... Once again... I only talked about the prophecies that came true with Nostradamus. Not all of them have come true. So I just want everybody to breathe. And let's not panic, okay? Because I don't think this is the end of the world here. Clearly, I don't think it's the end of the world.
Not at all.
Because I had some people that were really angry with me on Facebook. And I was like, have a seat. Breathe.
God, everyone needs to calm down.
Breathe. It's going to be okay. Just wash your hands. Don't touch your face. You're going to be fine. Predictions for 2020 via Nostradamus. Let's see. There's a great earthquake that's going to hit the American continent sometime in the year of 2020. He says, quote, New World of the Westlands will have a geographical catastrophe, and it will most likely occur in 2020.
Which was already happening last year.
Well, let's talk about that. Okay. I'm going to be real with everybody. I've lived in California. And the reason, I was at a crossroads when I left Colorado, like, for good the last time, which was like 2014, right? I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I've loved California and I've been there for like a few years doing my little, producer thing. There's one thing that I don't like, though, and I'm going to be real, and that's the freaking earthquakes are constant there. And like most of them are really small. People are crazy that live from, that are from California and like live there. They're like, oh, it's fine. It's just a little one. And like the whole house is shaking. You're like, okay, it's fine,
It's not a little one.
And, most people who are from like native to Cali do not believe the big one exists. They think that it's just scientists making it up and like trying to like scare tactics people. But I'm going to be real and say that there's a reason I didn't move back to California. When I was leaving Colorado, I was weighing my options. And the fault line's real, people. Like, screw politics. Who I listen to? Scientists. I believe science. I can't help it. I'm a science person. That's just who I am with paranormal. And if you research the fault lines, those exist. And so they've said that the fault line to go down in California is like over 100 years overdue. And people have been warned about that, and people either A, don't care, or B, don't think it's going to happen. I believe that it could happen at any moment. There was one earthquake that was so bad in California last year. It wasn't like August or something, or September, Kat?
Big.
And I called you like freaking out, or I texted you because the phone lines were down. I couldn't call anybody. We felt it here in Vegas. Now, there are some little fault lines that run in Vegas, but they're not big. And if something were to happen in LA or in California, it's not going to affect Vegas. But more power to people that live there and don't believe it happening. I understand that Los Angeles is a big hub, especially for, film.
Right.
But to me, it's,
anything else.
I don't know. I'm scared. There's so many people in Los Angeles, if you haven't been there, like, it's so packed all the time that, like, if there wasn't a major, like, earthquake, you wouldn't get out. You just wouldn't. And, like, I don't think about just myself. I think about my animals, like, I wouldn't want them to something to happen. Now, do I think it's going to end up like, what was the movie with The Rock, and it was just, like, ridiculous, and it was, like, dramatic? I don't necessarily think it's going to be like that. However, scientists have said, like, there could be a chance if the fault completely breaks from top to bottom, that section, which is Los Angeles, all southern LA, would just disappear. I don't want to mess with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not worth it to me. So we'll see what happens. So that's a Nostradamus, prediction, is that he thinks that there's going to be a major geological catastrophe, and it's going to change the mainland. That would also cause a bigger problem, because a majority of the United States economy comes from California, and particularly Los Angeles. That's terrifying. So if Los Angeles were to go down, the whole country is going to go down. And no offense, you're on the East Coast, and even New York doesn't mean that much to the United States as much as Cali does in LA. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, of course.
So that's scary. But then his next one is backing that up, which is he's predicting, Nostradamus says in the year 2020, that there's going to be a major economic crisis, which will include bankruptcy, recession, and dark times for the global economy. He also foresaw and predicted the 2008 crisis. So, I mean, honestly, isn't that happening right now?
Yeah, it is. And it plays hand in hand with a geological catastrophe happening in the Westlands, because if that goes down financially, there's obviously going to be an economic crisis as well.
Right.
So
now we have something back to back. If we have this going on, which I do believe, I think that this whole thing will get under control very quickly with this whole corona outbreak. But once again, I'm not as worried about the corona outbreak as I'm worried about the economic crisis. If you've ever studied economics, and honestly, be informed. If you don't know about economics, this is a really good time. If you're putting yourself on lockdown like we are, go rent or buy some books off Amazon, even ebooks, and start reading about it so you understand. Because it is scary. But yeah, if you have that plus a geological issue, such as California, which is our biggest economy, now we're going to have a really big problem. And honestly, we're already having a big problem because LA is partially on lockdown already, which is terrifying to me personally.
It's scary.
He also predicted climate change. He said that there will be an abrupt rise in sea level. And this was obviously 500 years ago that he predicted this. He specifically said that in 2020 the world will change. He said that what we know today as Antarctica will melt, and it will cause the sea to come up in level by several meters, which meter is larger than a mile, I think, right? Or what is it? I don't even know. Don't ask me. I'm not a math person. Global warming will be felt by all citizens of the earth in 2020, he said. And he also said that there would be catastrophic, massive storms and hurricanes globally because of this.
It's just going to be a ripple effect.
It's going to be a ripple effect.
Totally.
So he says, quote, this is a direct quote. In the city of God, there will be a great thunder. Two brothers torn apart by chaos. while the fortress endures. The great leader will succumb. The third war will begin when the big city is burning.
Wow.
So he's claiming a new world war when a city is burning. And I hate to say this, but I would assume it's going to be LA or New York.
Wow.
Right?
Third World War.
Now that's if it comes through. If it comes true, I think everybody needs to just breathe for a minute. Like, Jesus,
Oh, of
take the wheel.
course. It's just weird coincidence. You know what I mean?
Well, and also don't let, the media and film and like movies get in your head and mess with you, because we always see the big cities going down first. And obviously, like, the East Coast is New York, obviously, it's the closest, and then LA, and that's obviously their coastal areas as well. So I think everybody just needs to breathe for a minute. We don't know what's actually going to happen. Now, he did say in 1555 that humanity would suffer from a serious illness, which would be difficult to destroy at first. The beginning of 2020, there's obviously the epidemic that's happened, and it's spread like wildfire, infecting tens of thousands. Okay. Should we talk conspiracy theories for like 2 seconds?
Yes.
So there's some deep conspiracy theories going on online right now about coronavirus, and I didn't bring my tinfoil hat with me. So I can't get too balls deep into that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what I will say, and Kat and I talked about this the other day, I'm sure she'll still agree with me. Mm-hmm. All these weird illnesses always start in China. Don't they? You got swine flu, bird flu, all these weird illnesses. Why are they always coming out of China? And let's be real, China is one of the oldest cultures on the freaking planet. And as we know, they can't, for a while there were restrictions on how many kids they can have. They preferred men, boys, and they would adopt the females out. So people are living on top of each other. Obviously, there's nowhere to live. The economy's always been kind of rough there. I don't know. If I put any conspiracy out there, I'm just going to say that I kind of feel like it's a population control sort of issue.
I agree. And then it gets out of hand.
And then it gets out of hand, and then it hops the country, and then it goes other places. And they always start there, supposedly, which I have not checked into this, so don't quote me on this. I'm not going to be, like, crazy. Like, what was that one guy that, like, got banned from social media because he was, like, always, like, saying conspiracies are the truth, this is happening? I'm not going to do that. I'm, like, not
Sounds like a lot of people.
No, what, Alex Jones or something like that? No, let's not go there. I don't have time for that psychoticness, okay? But I will say I just feel like it could be a population control issue for sure. Like, I feel like they have so many people and they need to, like, die some people off. They need to control it. And there were 2 reporters supposedly that reported on coronavirus. And because everyone's like, okay, here's corona, we're dealing with it. Okay, but, like, where did it start? Like, I haven't heard anybody talk about that, And the reporters that were reporting on it disappeared.
Right.
Nobody knows where they're at, and they were reporting on where it started, which was like a lab, and it was like induced and then released.
The guy that apparently created it, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, died from it.
He got it and died.
And there are articles that are him stating and quoted that he didn't realize how bad it was going to get, and he wished he didn't even do that from the beginning.
Well, maybe you shouldn't.
And
have.
then those reporters went missing.
Then the reporters are gone. Creepy.
Well, I guess the biggest thing that I don't understand is it China that has restrictions for children being born, where you can't have more than 2?
They used to. I think that they changed, but I think for a while the restriction was you could only have boys and you couldn't have girls. And so a lot of Americans were adopting the little girls out. I don't know for 100% certain if it's changed or not. I did hear it changed, but I don't know to what. I wouldn't want to say because I don't know.
They've always had population
issues. Always. Yep, always. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. That's enough of my tin hat. I'm going to take it back off. But I feel like it's just creepy.
It is creepy.
Like, this isn't the first, like, mysterious illness that's popped up out of there, and it's annoying.
It is.
I'm going on to the next one. I'm reading it here. So he did say rain, blood, milk, famine, steel and plague, people will die in massive amounts without blood. So, I mean, I guess this could be massive amounts. I don't know.
Right. There's just so many. There's so many.
I don't know if I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I think it should be taken serious, but I think it can be controllable if people would just, I'm really glad they've canceled a lot of these big events because I think that's a problem.
Same.
Yep.
Well, there are things that are happening and being put in place to help stop the spread from getting worse,
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely agree that, procedures should be put into place to at least stop that, but it shouldn't be a panic mode.
He
you
said
know what I mean?
well, people are panicking and media is causing it worse. Funds will go bankrupt. International exchange market will need to close in short time. It could even happen for a week or more and stop the panic of selling shares. And it will swallow the stock market, which also already happened. So,
Right.
let's see, I'm reading more about panic levels. He keeps talking about panic, markets, free fall, and panic levels. United States faces an economic stagnation for several years. The economic fundamentals are no longer applying today. Now we're going to move forward, and then he kind of talks about the Middle East. He's talking about a World War III. Weapons of war will succumb to the sky. The same year, holy men will become enemies. They will unfairly attempt to suppress the sacred law, and the believers will die by war and shock.
Wow.
So I think they're basically saying like an ISIS war, which who knows who and where that could start with. Conspiracy against a king will secretly place an enemy as a threat. And they're thinking this has something to do with Donald Trump and the presidency to political conflicts. Says the, quote, king is in danger and he could be attacked from all sides. He does claim that this is a prophecy from Nostradamus that Trump will be reelected as president of the United States in the next election. Baba Vanga, or was it Baba Vanga? I believe said the same thing.
Yes.
Wildfires will occur in Europe. This includes Greece and Croatia. Heat waves will hit countries such as Portugal, Spain, Netherlands, Germany, and France. America will be melted by wildfires and excessive heat. New Mexico and California, specifically Palm Springs, Los Angeles, predicted wildfires also in Australia. The sky will be darkened and the fields will be burned by the heat, it says. I'm trying to reword some of this so it's more understanding.
It can get really in depth.
Yeah, it also still sounds very poetic to me, so I'm trying to I have to sort of think about it before I speak it. He did predict Great Britain leaving the European Union, and that triggers a massive economic collapse in the UK. It will be historical. Because Wales, Scotland, and North Ireland don't agree with the withdrawal from the United Kingdom on the European Union side. Which, I mean, didn't that happen already? Didn't they already leave the Union?
Ireland did.
Right. Nostradamus specifies that Queen Elizabeth, he specifically said, Queen Elizabeth, her longest reign will end in 2020. They don't know if she's just passing the throne on or if she passes. They're saying that this prediction will also cause more hurricanes and issues and the most tornadoes ever registered in the United States.
That's terrifying.
I don't like tornadoes, man. I grew up in Colorado and it's not my thing. He goes into very specific details about diameters of Antarctica melting and detaching, claims that the temperatures, the ocean levels are much higher now than they were before. He predicted all this 500 years ago. Oh, he also says there will be refugees, water and food crisis, and global conflicts.
Nothing in there about toilet paper. I'm just saying.
Oh, here's a good one. This will make everybody really excited about it. The prophet announced the occurrence of one specific strong earthquake in the future will lead to the sinking of the entire state of California under the ocean floor. He predicted the occurrence of catalytic world map changes and the outbreak of the Third World War. Oh, wow, he was so specific. He says when California will sink will be during Mercury retrograde. Of course it is, Mercury. You need to have a seat. Everybody's
throw that in there.
Everybody's tired of your retrograde, Mercury, okay? It says the next time Mercury will be in retrograde will be between June 18th and July 12th, and that's when he's predicting California to sink. That's interesting.
Wow.
So I'm going to make sure that I'm out of town for that month with my animals, just to be safe. We're moving for the month.
Look, it's fine.
I'm sorry, I'm just, once again, I have to translate this to make sure that I'm translating it properly.
Oh, there's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind me moving
down.
It says humans will live on the moon in one of his visions. Nostradamus saw people living on the moon in 2020.
I mean, I don't think about that. I don't think that's going to happen. I hate to break it to you guys.
On the other hand, scientists claim that NASA is planning moon expeditions next year. King Jong-un will be dethroned, according to Nostradamus. Kim Jong-un will be dethroned by his people, who will rebel, which might go towards his previous premonition.
I'll swim to Nevada. Sorry. Larry said I'll swim to Nevada. Mood. Well, Nevada, Las Vegas, an hour from us, is Death Valley, and it's below sea level. So all of us are already like, no, if the water comes in, boo, Death Valley's gone, at least we're going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? Just Larry, next Mercury retrograde, out of there, man. Just take a vacation for like a month, just to be safe, and then when it's over, be like, okay, I can go home now. Russia will get involved with the conflict with Kim Jong-un, and the image of Russia will be changed forever. So I assume people will praise Russia. Is that what you think?
Probably.
They're building a gas station on the moon. Yeah, if I need some Fritos, I'd like somebody to just real quick drive me to the moon real fast. Also, my Jeep is on empty. Is there any way I could get a boost really quick? Like, if the aliens could hook it up, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe they're selling supplies in that gas station.
Oh, this was creepy, his death. Did you read that? Like, that creeped me out really bad. Nostradamus predict his death.
Mm-hmm.
He said, quote, I'll be found next to the bench and the bed. I will be found dead. He announced this on the evening that he didn't survive that night, and he was found the following morning next to his work table on the floor, and he was dead.
Well, I mean,
creepy.
He seemed okay knowing.
He seemed okay knowing. Well, that's interesting though, because Sylvia Browne also had predicted her death, obviously. So that's interesting.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I have had a couple near-death experiences, and this is gonna sound really dark. So I don't want people to like think I'm like dark, but I'm a little dark. I'm a little edgy. I almost drowned once, which was horrible because I really think I drowned in a past life. Like, I'm dead serious. Not joking. I've never been on a boat.
Not joking.
Really not joking. Like, and if I get on a yacht, I will have like 8 floaties on me the whole time.
Oh, okay.
What?
Really weird you're saying that.
Why?
Okay, I have something to add.
Okay.
If you don't mind. So I saw a friend of mine today, and we were chatting about past lives, and I said I just found it really interesting that I kind of felt like I was from like a Victorian past life,
right.
And I always felt that like my life in my past life kind of abrupted last minute or unexpectedly. And my friend said that, when was your birthday? And I said April 15th, and she said, well, isn't that when the Titanic sank? And I was like, so there's a theory that the day that you're born, if from your past life, is probably in the manner that you pass.
Wow.
Depending on if there was something that happened. And I was like, well, it makes sense because it's from that time period I've always felt. It was from the feelings I've always had of having like an abrupt end in a past life. Mm-hmm. And my birthday was on the day that the Titanic sank.
See, my birthday is May 10th, which is Mother's Day. If I drowned on Mother's Day, that's depressing at AF.
That's really messed up, yo.
It's not
You
right.
should look that up.
Of course, I don't know. I do believe, like, I have, like, some masculine energy going on sometimes. You know what I mean? So I do believe I've lived female lives, but I think I've lived some male lives, too, because and I think that's why I get so frustrated, where, like, I'm like, why is it going so slow? Because I'm a girl? Like, the whole, like, getting GGD signed, I'm like, I'm so annoyed with that. Like, shouldn't have anything to do with my gender.
Right.
Speaking of that, though, let's throw in our own prediction there. It's really a damn good thing we don't have GGD signed right now. I'm going to be honest.
Oh my gosh, we were talking
Because
about that
if it
today.
was signed with the economy crashing, it would probably also in turn be canceled.
Right.
So I will thank baby Jesus, whoever's up there hanging out, for not signing us yet, because clearly timing is a thing. And
It really is.
we don't want to get it canceled. You know what I'm saying? So I'm totally fine with waiting until everything just calms down for a minute. Corona, the fault line,
Wow.
everybody just chill. And when you're ready, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Which creeps me out because we're supposed to go in Tennessee for some negotiations, by the way, which is also Mercury retrograde. And that's
Yep.
when, like, look, boo, I might have to send you by yourself. 'Cause if I have to get Hail Tet out of here with my dogs,
Oh my god.
priorities.
Okay.
No,
Cool.
so
Well,
anyway,
just bring
I
a lot
think,
of safe, you know,
I mean,
fine.
it's weird. Like, I don't know how to take some of this. Some of it I believe, some of it I don't believe.
You
I
can go
don't-
all day talking about
You
it.
can go all directions, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. All I have to say is everybody just stop buying the toilet paper,
Yeah.
okay?
Y'all don't need that much, okay?
Also, hoarding food's not a good idea. It's probably going to go bad, and you're going to throw out half of it anyways. Literally, the shelves are just bare here in Vegas, and it's just
Same.
sad. It's just crazy and sad. And I don't really know what's going to happen, guys. I can say this. Sometimes you're going to need to learn to step away from social media for a while. You need to put your phone down and you need to walk away because it's overwhelming. And this is the best time ever to really start, like, learning to ground yourself. And my only way I can give you options is, like, yoga and meditation. Because, like, that, it teaches you to, like, walk away and be like, okay, I need to recenter, I need to stop. Because, like, there's some overwhelming things happening on social media. And
Really bad.
you have to remember, like, what you're doing. It really sucks in Vegas because you have the Strip, obviously, which has tons of tourists and all of these big casinos. And some of the casinos, specifically MGM, has gotten, several of their employees have gotten sick with coronavirus. And they have had to lay their employees off because they can't let them come back to work. And
Right.
you think about these people, what are they going to do? They can't go get another job because they have coronavirus. How are they going to pay their bills? They've been laid off now. You can't get unemployment benefits unless you've been there for an X amount of time. What if
Yeah.
they haven't been there for that long and they can't get them? What if their family doesn't even want to let them in because they also have coronavirus? You know, like, this is, like, scary things that are happening right now. And that's
Yeah.
going to happen to more people than just at the MGM. So it's shocking. It's really scary. It's happening. We can't stop it now. And I'm self-quarantining. That's the only thing I can say. And it's just to protect my mom. I am not letting my mother go out at all. At all. She's not. And she's not happy with me about it, but it's not happening. She's going to just stay home and chill till this passes. And I don't think it'll take long, but I do predict myself, and I'm not a prophet, but I think that the United States is going to end up having to go into some sort of quarantine.
It's gonna happen.
I think that we're going to have absolutely no choice. And that's because we're going to have to control it somehow. And that's going to be the only way to control it. I mean, look at Los Angeles is already starting it. So everyone buckle up, breathe. Even in quarantine in Italy, they're still able to access grocery stores. You know, there's certain jobs that will have to still continue, like the trash service and the mail, because they can't let that get overwhelmed. But you just need to wash your hands, breathe, and step
Stay
away
safe,
from
guys.
social media. Stay away from social media sometimes. It's, you know, like, it can be really overwhelming as a sensitive and as an empath, and you don't want to, like, cause yourself to have a frenzy. I had one of those the other day. I stayed up. I pulled an all-nighter one night last week, and it's interesting. It was before it got really bad and like the big hysteria happened. So I'm wondering if I was like in tune to some sort of energy. But Kat woke up. Obviously, she's East Coast, so she's 3 hours later than me. And sometimes she'll text me, and I get up early anyway. Usually, I'm up between like 6 and 7 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And Kat texted me at like 5 my time. She was not expecting me to respond.
I was like, what?
And I text her back, and I'm like, I haven't slept all night. I've been up all night. And Kat's like, why? Are you okay? I'm like, I don't really know. I'm like, I was like wired, and I was like, I went down a rabbit hole reading about coronavirus. Don't do that.
Don't
like, and
Google
I
it,
think
folks.
that's the panic buying, is like they think they're in control of something.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna like panic buy, and it's like, just, that's not helping either. Like, it's gonna be okay. I don't know what kind of, what we're facing here, but once again,
True.
the economy side is scarier to me than the actual coronavirus. So,
True.
And read up on the economy, read up on what happened, during the World War I and World War II. So, like, knowledge is power. Be in control of your knowledge. That's something you should do. Because if you're in control of your knowledge, that's the best thing you can do for yourself.
True.
So anyway, guys, I'm going to have another YouTube video up on my eyeshadow look for the night. I hope that people don't think I'm being insensitive. I'm just trying to give you guys some content to watch and focus on other than dark stuff. You know what I'm saying? And Erica, I just want toilet paper. Amen. Like, that's a mood. Thank you to your subscribers. Obviously, we didn't post much on Patreon this week. I'm sorry for that. It's only because we were trying to be sensitive to everybody. But we're going to try to keep up with content. Now that Kat and I are quarantined, we're just going to do content. You know
we're going to have a lot of content.
Yeah, Kat, how did your video go with YouTube with having the camera on?
I just had a moment.
Do you want to tell everybody what happened? Or not really?
So follow me on Instagram. I put it on there, and I'm pretty sure I saved it in my funnies story saving thing on my profile. And I filmed for 45 minutes and went to go and look at it, to go and edit, and the camera was facing the other direction the entire time. So I was talking to a camera that wasn't facing towards me. And, there are just a lot of things that I could say about that, and we're going to let it go to Jesus, and we're going to restart next week.
Go to small, strange places for toilet paper. Yeah, if you need advice, that's a good one, Larry. I've heard also some of the Asian supermarkets are really slow, so maybe that's an option out there. We have like Japanese markets and stuff like that. Think of like world markets, we have Greek markets here as well. Think of places like that. Sometimes gas stations, right? Dirk was finding stuff at gas stations, right, Kat? Mm-hmm. Okay, so gas station, like random little places. Just think of stuff like that, and maybe just pick up one here and just slowly start stocking up on it. You don't want to be one of those people run into the front with 400 bags of toilet paper, okay? People are going to be like, I'm judging you. I am judging you. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to our subscribers for keeping us going. We love you guys, both on Twitch and Patreon. We will catch up on content this week. If there's anything you guys want to hear from us as far as content goes, please always throw us a suggestion. I've been responding to all my inbox drops from Instagram. Shout out to there. Look for us on social media under Ghost Girl Diaries. Follow us for Crystal Leandra, Kat Cormier. Or you can find us obviously in our information Twitch boxes and YouTube chats below. Please show your support to our streams by subscribing to our Patreon and Twitch. And next stream will be Monday. We're going to do it on Monday. I might do a couple booze and reviews here just to try to keep everybody, keep everybody focused on something else. Let's just try to still have fun and keep going. Don't take everything literal with prophecies. Just breathe. Is it the end of the world? No, I don't think so.
Nope.
I think everybody just needs to just think twice before they buy 400 rolls of toilet paper or $17,000 with hand sanitizer. Sure. And follow us on social media. We love you guys. Take care. Wash your freaking hands. Don't touch your face. It's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe. We love you guys. And as always, we will catch you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
invited to go fucking mental on this motherfucking drop. The countdown has just begun.